A visionary leader and his legacy, introducing Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew was the founding father of Singapore. He served as Prime Minister from 1959 to 1990. That's a remarkable 31 years. Under his leadership, Singapore transformed from a small, resource-poor island into a global economic powerhouse. Lee Kuan Yew was a visionary leader. He understood the importance of strong governance, meritocracy, and a focus on education. He also knew that discipline was essential for progress. Lee Kuan Yew's policies were sometimes controversial, but his commitment to Singapore's development was unwavering. He believed in hard work, efficiency, and accountability. He instilled these values in Singaporean society. These values became the foundation of Singapore's success. Lee Kuan Yew's legacy continues to inspire leaders around the world. He is remembered as one of the most influential statesmen of the 20th century. Two nations at a crossroads. The Philippines and Singapore in the 1960s. In the 1960s, the Philippines and Singapore were both developing nations. They were both located in Southeast Asia, and they were both eager to forge a brighter future for their people. However, there were some key differences between the two countries. The Philippines was blessed with abundant natural resources. It had a large population and a strong agricultural sector. Singapore, on the other hand, was a tiny island nation with very few resources. It had to rely on its people and their ingenuity. Despite these differences, both countries had the potential to succeed. The Philippines had a relatively high literacy rate and a well-educated workforce. Singapore had a strategic location and a strong trading tradition. Both countries were poised for growth. The question was, which path would they choose? Diverging paths. The rise of Singapore and the decline of the Philippines. The paths chosen by the Philippines and Singapore diverged dramatically in the decades that followed. Singapore, under Lee Kuan Yew's leadership, embraced a model of disciplined economic development. It focused on attracting foreign investment, developing its manufacturing sector, and investing heavily in education. The government implemented policies to promote efficiency and root out corruption. The people of Singapore, inspired by their leaders, worked hard to build a better future. The Philippines, unfortunately, took a different route. It became mired in political instability, corruption, and cronyism. The government failed to invest in education and infrastructure. Foreign investment dwindled, and the economy stagnated. The gap between the rich and the poor widened, leading to social unrest. While Singapore was soaring to new heights, the Philippines was trapped in a cycle of poverty and underdevelopment. Section 4. Lee Kuan Yew's prophetic warning, a culture of impunity. Lee Kuan Yew, with his keen understanding of nation-building, observed the Philippines' trajectory with concern. He saw the potential of the Filipino people but was troubled by what he perceived as a culture of forgiveness, particularly towards those in power. He believed this leniency towards corruption and lack of accountability were deeply ingrained societal issues hindering the nation's progress. He contrasted this with Singapore's strict approach, where corruption was met with zero tolerance. Lee Kuan Yew firmly believed that for a nation to thrive, its leaders must be held accountable for their actions. He warned that the Philippines' soft approach would have dire consequences, leading to a vicious cycle of corruption and underdevelopment. Section 5. The consequences of unheeded advice, corruption and its lingering grip. Lee Kuan Yew's warnings about the Philippines unfortunately proved prophetic. Decades later, the issues he identified continue to plague the nation. Corruption remains endemic, eroding public trust and hindering economic growth. The justice system, often slow and inefficient, struggles to hold those in power accountable. This culture of impunity has had a devastating impact on the Philippines. It has discouraged foreign investment, fueled inequality, and deprived generations of Filipinos of the opportunity to reach their full potential. The nation's vast potential remains untapped, held captive by the very issues Lee Kuan Yew warned about. Section 6. A time for reflection. The enduring relevance of Lee Kuan Yew's warning. Lee Kuan Yew's warning about the Philippines remains strikingly relevant today. Despite some efforts at reform, the same challenges persist. Political dynasties continue to dominate the political landscape, often prioritizing self-interest over the needs of the people. The lack of accountability and transparency fosters an environment where corruption flourishes. The Philippines story serves as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the consequences of ignoring the importance of good governance, accountability, and a commitment to the rule of law. Lee Kuan Yew's words should serve as a wake-up call, prompting a long-overdue national conversation about the deep-rooted issues holding the nation back. Section 7. The Path Forward, Embracing Change for a Brighter Future. While the challenges facing the Philippines are significant, it is not too late to change course. The Filipino people are known for their resilience, their warmth, and their strong family values. These are strengths that can be harnessed to build a better future. The first step is to acknowledge the problems and commit to addressing them head-on. This requires strong and ethical leadership, willing to prioritize the nation's well-being over personal gain. It demands a justice system that is fair, efficient, and accessible to all. Most importantly, it necessitates a cultural shift, a move away from the culture of impunity towards a society that values accountability, transparency, and the rule of law. The journey will be long and arduous, but the rewards, a prosperous and equitable Philippines, are well worth the effort.